Why would you want to drive down the wages of millions of working Americans who can't get those jobs in construction, agriculture, and hospitality because illegal immigrants are getting them, and suppressing wages in the meantime? Why would you want to do that?
Well, if you didn't hear from my initial testimony, you know I don't want that.
Listen, I read your testimony word for word, and I've been watching it, and I know what the answer is. You don't actually care about working people because you're absolutely hell-bent on this ideological agenda of opening our border.
Hey guys, Matt Miller here with Politibrawl. Watch Josh Hawley absolutely lose it at this Democrat witness who tries to say that America needs illegal immigrants for cheap labor that can be exploited by corporations. This guy shows the hand of the Uniparty and the establishment and why Biden has been opening the border for the last 4 years. What is the end move behind all this? It's so that American corporations can exploit cheap labor from illegal immigrants rather than giving Americans well-paying jobs for the same labor. Watch it right here.
Let me just ask you, Mr. Reifland-Melnick, I mean, is it really such a bad idea to deport people like the criminal who killed this young man? This is Travis Wolf. He was 12 years old when he was killed. He was mowed down, and I do mean mowed down, in a car by an illegal immigrant, 12 years of age, walking along a sidewalk in my state of Missouri, mowed down by an illegal immigrant who I think also had a prior criminal record. Is it such a bad idea to deport the person who killed him?
Any person who commits a heinous crime should suffer the consequences under the law.
Good. What about Officer David Lee? Officer David Lee was killed in Missouri just a few months ago by another illegal immigrant, once again in a car, who used it as a lethal weapon to ram him and kill him. Is it so wrong, such a bad idea to deport the illegal immigrant who killed this good man?
Again, any person who commits an awful act should face the full force of the law.
We've had multiple stabbings in the state of Missouri at laundromats in O'Fallon, Missouri, where innocent civilians were going to do their laundry of an evening and were attacked with knives, slashed, bled, stomped upon. Should the illegals who did that, should they not be deported?
No, as I said, if you commit an offense, you should face consequences. But the overwhelming majority of the 13 million people here today
We've had officers assaulted in Kansas City on the other side of the state who have been assaulted by illegal immigrants. One officer required over 100 stitches to the head, a police officer, earlier this year. Should the illegal immigrant who did that not be deported?
Again, they should face the consequences of the law, but they are a very small minority of the population that President Trump is promising to deport.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the people who you don't want to be deported. You said in an article that you wrote recently, new report shows devastating costs of mass deportation. You wrote this in October. Do you remember this piece?
Yes, that is a summary of our report.
Yeah, so in this piece, and it's also in your written testimony, you talk about how much the economy will lose if the United States actually enforces our immigration laws and deports folks who are here illegally. And I want to quote you now. You say some industries would be particularly hard hit, including construction, agriculture, and hospitality, which combined would lose more than 2.5 million workers. What's the argument here, that there aren't American workers who are available to do those jobs?
No, and as I said previously, there likely are, but the issue is that—
And you don't want their wages to rise?
I think that we want to pass a path to citizenship so we can have a level and fair playing field for every American.
Why would you want American citizens and those who are here lawfully to have to compete against illegal immigrants who, by the way, are often paid not minimum wage, who are not given the federally mandated benefits precisely because they're here illegally? Why would you want to drive down the wages of millions of working Americans who can't get those jobs in construction, agriculture, and hospitality because illegal immigrants are getting them, suppressing wages in the meantime? Why would you want to do that?
Well, if you didn't hear from my initial testimony, you know I don't want that.
Listen, I read your testimony word for word, and I've been watching it, and I know what the answer is. You don't actually care about working people because you're absolutely hell-bent on this ideological agenda of opening our border. You want to give everybody who's here a path to citizenship. You want blanket amnesty. You talk about mass deportations. That's your word, not Trump's. You want mass amnesty, right? It's right here in your testimony.
We want a path to citizenship for people who pass a background check, who pay a
That's
fine.
amnesty, who you
and
just
that
said
way
is
we'll get
millions
a
of people,
level
13
playing
million
field.
people. Right, 13 million people you want to dump into the labor force.
They are
Who
already
will drive
in the labor force,
illegally?
Senator.
They're here,
Yes.
taking jobs
So
from
let's
American
make it
citizens and selling.
legal and
Oh,
avoid
perfect. So
this.
here's your plan. So just if you're wondering, America, here's the Democrats' plan. Take the 13 million plus illegals who are here, taking jobs from Americans, taking wages down, taking health care benefits, and bring them here legally so that they can continue to drive down wages, flood the labor force, and suppress all
Senator
of the
Hawley, they
above.
can't flood the labor force if they're already part of the labor force, which is
They
the
are
economic
flooding the
issue
labor
today.
force now. That's what's happening now. Why do
The
you think
majority
wages
have been here for
flatlined?
over 15 years. Many millions have been
And
here
what has
since the
happened to
Reagan
working class
administration.
wages in that time, Mr. Reifman-Melnick?
Working class
they gone
wages
up?
are currently going up. Yes,
Oh, really? They've
have
gone up over the last
year.
15 years?
Over the
They're
last
up?
15 years, I will have to consult the economists on that matter.
Yeah, they're down, way down. What world do you live in?
So while this guy might be right that there will be ripple effects, there will be consequences to mass deportations, as they're calling it. Really, it's just deporting illegal immigrants, specifically criminal illegal immigrants who have been in this country, they came illegally and they've committed crimes, or previously they've been found to commit crimes. This will have an effect on the economy because they are currently embedded within the economy, doing cheap labor, doing jobs that should be available for American citizens at a fair wage. It's a shame. It's a absolute tragedy that so many illegal immigrants, who are human beings, by the way, are basically forced into these low-paying, cheap labor jobs. And corporations in America know that they can exploit these people. This is not something that we should just put a Band-Aid over and accept. This is something that needs to be untangled as the massive problem that it is. These jobs, first of all, American corporations should not be exploiting illegal immigrants for cheap labor. And these jobs should be well-paying, fair wage jobs that go to American citizens. This is exploitation and corruption, and it's permissible by the politics behind it. That's why the uniparty, that's why the establishment has been so light on this issue and has ignored the border crisis. And that's why they are so angry that Donald Trump and his supporters are calling it out for what it is. They're identifying this chronic problem that America has been dealing with for the last several decades, our open border, our weak enforcement of the border, and all of the myriad of problems that this causes. I mean, it's not just the labor issue, it's also drug trafficking, human trafficking, cartels exploiting the open border to get paraphernalia into the United States. And it's also, I mean, we know that the Democrats' end game with this is they want to import votes. It's a voting base. That's why, again, it all kind of connects, that they're so light on the voter ID issue. They don't want to have to enforce voter ID for people to vote. They want to make it as easy as possible for as many people in their constituency and the demographics that they have influence over to be able to vote, when it should be American citizens that can prove that they're American citizens that are allowed to vote, and only those people. We know that millions of illegal immigrants have entered this country over the last 4 years, and we know that there are millions more, tens of millions, that are here taking American jobs. But that's the least of it. The ones that are taking American jobs, that is an economic issue. It's the ones that Trump wants to target, the criminal illegal immigrants, the ones that have committed crimes, the ones that shouldn't be here in the first place, that are posing the biggest threat to national security. We don't know who these people are. They haven't been properly vetted, like every other nation with a border. And any sovereign nation that has a border is able to vet who it comes into their country. And they're never called xenophobic or racist. It only seems to be America or Western countries that get labeled this if they care about who's coming into their country. For example, Japan is a very closed-off country. To become a citizen in Japan, you have to jump through a lot of hoops to get there. Nobody calls Japan xenophobic or racist. They just have the right to decide who comes into their country. They are a sovereign nation. So now that Trump won, the establishment is going to have to just sit back and watch as Trump corrects this issue. And he's made very clear that it's going to be his top priority, a day one priority in his new administration, to take care of this issue, to enact deportations of these targeted individuals across the country and make sure that we reverse the damage that's been done by the Biden administration. But he's also vocalized support for making legal immigration into America easier. And I agree with that. It's such a stretch when you actually listen to Trump in context, what he has said, what he supports, to call him racist or xenophobic for this plan to deport criminal illegal immigrants, or his plan to tighten the border. This has nothing to do with race or xenophobia. It has everything to do with making sure American citizens are prioritized in our economy, in their communities, that they're kept safe, and that we vet who comes into this country just like every other nation in the world is allowed to do. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this clip in the comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you guys get notified when we post new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.